A few thoughts I want to share with you. On Monday, Americans will observe a holiday honoring and memorializing civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. Every national observance of the birthday of Dr. King, I welcome. It provides me with an opportunity to reflect not only on the dream of this visionary, but to reflect on the lessons that can be learned from his faith-based activism. I appreciate a government that wants to honor this man in this manner, and I am truly sad that so many people in this land still do not want to give Dr. King credit for his contributions to the nation. Of course, they were opposed to what he supported. What happened under the leadership of Martin Luther King Jr. and the many women and men who worked alongside him is absolutely incredible. The civil rights movement facilitated an accomplishment of positive, justice-centered social change with only a minimal level of violence. Amazing. Downtrodden men and women and their children demanding their civil rights were armed only with quiet protests, inspiring songs, intercessory prayers, necessary political actions, and courage undaunted by mean opposition. The march to justice led by Dr. King involved people who carried no weapons of violence, only the testimony of history, the critique of truth, and the irrepressible strength, patience, and compassion of their faiths. Never before has so much work for justice involving so much radical change been done so quickly and effectively with such a minimal loss of life. In fact, it wouldn't be too much to say thank you to Dr. King every day. So at least honoring him once a year is terribly important. Let's make the most of it. We don't have to use armed weapons of violence to achieve social change. The civil rights movement and Dr. King himself prove that truth is irrefutable. Our nation is the beneficiary of a nonviolent method of dramatic social change. But I also think of other lessons to be learned from this man's leadership. For example, Dr. King demonstrated that a commitment to justice requires depth and breadth, not narrow focus and exclusive priorities. When King drew his last breath, he was in Memphis to lend his support to underpaid workers. Adequate wages for laborers, sufficient remuneration for work is also an issue of justice, an issue that we best keep in mind as we debate unemployment benefits and an increase in our minimum wage. Dr. King turned his eyes for justice also to our nation's involvement in an unnecessary war in Vietnam. This eloquent religious as well as social leader understood that the money used to buy bombs and guns is money that could have been spent on public education, hunger relief, and care for the poor. Justice is a big, multifaceted matter that requires holistic attention. Justice regarding the civil rights of all people can't be divorced from support for economic justice, religious liberty, education, and more. Dr. King's exemplary vision included all of it, every bit of it. Remembering Dr. King is good. Learning from him is even better. Best of all, though, is continuing a commitment to fulfill his dream of a nation committed to full compliance with our Constitution. I remember so well the solidarity of those young black and white people integrating lunch counters, packed like herded cattle into southern jail cells, and walking one street after another together. Our leaders in Congress could learn so much from Dr. King. How good it would be if members of Congress on both sides of the aisle could set aside personal ambition and partisan legislation to join hands in cooperation and do the work together that will advance liberty and justice for everybody among us. That should be the legacy of this heroic figure. On the national birthday celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I hope you will join me in remembering what he did and how he did it, despite the odds against his success. I hope you will join me as well in giving thanks for this man's decision to use as weapons only truth, justice, and liberty, not the firearms that divide us and enable us to kill one another. The nonviolent civil rights movement, envisioned and led by Martin Luther King Jr. and scores of others, made us a better nation, a more conscientious people, and a more just democracy. But beyond remembering and beyond giving thanks, even more, I hope that on the King holiday, you will see even a small act of justice that you can support or actually help move to effect, and then take one step toward getting that justice done. Thanks, Martin. The work is now in our hands. We know it. I can only hope that we will be as faithful in our efforts as you were in yours.